Alright, so today we're learning section 1.5, Equations in Mental Math. Should be in your books. If you haven't already, turn to page 26. Alright, in example 1, you guys ready? In example 1, we're checking to see whether a number is a solution to the equation. In order for it to be a true equation, both sides of the equation need to equal each other. Alright, so I have two possible solutions to my equation n plus 5 equals 12. I start with 9. So for n plus 5 equals 12, I make my substitution. 9 plus 5 equals 12. Well, what's 9 plus 5? 14. Alright, so does 14 equal 12? No. So I would say no, 9 is not a solution. I say no. Alright, so basically I'm just testing out numbers. Alright, is this number a solution? Yes or no? Is this number a solution? Yes or no? And I just kind of go through the possible solutions. So let's look at 7 and see if 7 is a possible solution. Again, I start with my original problem. 9 plus 5 equals 12. I make my substitution. 7 plus 5 equals 12. At this point, don't just say yes or no. I want to see how both sides equal each other, and 12 equals 12. Actually, let me rewrite that. 12 equals 12, and I would say yes. Okay? Show me that both sides equal or don't equal each other. Okay, now in example 2, I'm using mental math. What does that mean? That means no calculators. That means you're not showing any work. All right, you excited? You actually are not supposed to show work because you're supposed to be doing it in your head, right? Now, here's the trick with this. Anytime you see a variable, and I had kids really struggling on this part of their homework, so you need to hear me out on this. Anytime you see a variable, you insert the question, what number? What number? Okay? So, here's what it's going to look like in words. 9 plus what number equals 12. On your homework tonight, you're going to have to match equations with their verbal statements. You read it by inserting the question, what number, whenever you see the variable. So in number 1, I would say 9 plus what number equals 12? And what is my answer? 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. Do not just say 3. You need to say x equals 3. The value for x must be 3 to make the equation true. Number 2, what number minus 5 equals 15? Or 10. Oh, I said the answer. Yes, what number minus 5 equals 10? N equals 15. N equals 15. So what do you think about number 3? 4 times what number equals 20? 4 times what? 5. So T equals 5. All right, I want you to solve the last one. All right, and what's our answer? M equals? 4? 4? 36, guys. Listen, 12 divided by 3 is 4, but that's not what it's asking. You have to read it correctly. What number divided by 3 is 12? 36. Okay? All right, so that's example 2. Now I want you to do your turn now, numbers 4 through 7 on page 27. All right, now with example 3, we're working the distance formula. Our distance formula stands for D equals distance, R equals rate, and T equals time. D equals distance, R equals rate, and T equals time. Rate would be how fast you're going. T, obviously, time is how long it takes, and distance is how far you're going. All right, so with all of the formulas that we're going to learn this year, we start with our formula. We plug in the values for the variables. That's something that we've already been working. And then we solve for what we don't know. There will always be a part of the formula that we don't know, and that's the part that we're solving for. So do you have the formula written down? D equals RT? All right, so in example 3, it says that we have a homing pigeon. We're on page 28, the top of page 28. We have a homing pigeon that flies at a speed of about 50 miles an hour. It asked me, okay, here's what it asked me, about how long would it take. So which part am I solving for? How long would it take? Which part? Distance, rate, or time? Time. How long? That's time. How long would it take for a homing pigeon to fly 300 miles? I always start with my formula. D equals RT. What is my distance? It has to tell me what's my distance. 300. What's my rate?
50 miles per hour.
50 miles per hour. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm plugging in the numbers where they go in the formula for the variable that they represent. Now I don't know time, so that's where I must write the variable t. You have to have a variable in your equation in order to solve, so make sure that you write a variable there. Okay, I had a lot of kids last hour trying to do these problems, mental math, and not show the formula. You will not get any credit on a quiz or a test unless you actually use the formula. We're starting simple. You're going to be able to solve these in your head. The important part is learning how to plug in, how to substitute values in for your variables, how to use a formula to solve. Okay, so that is important. So I have 300 equals 50t. And now, yes, I can just ask myself 50 times what number equals 300? And it's 6. So t equals 6 seconds, 6 minutes, 6 hours, because the problem tells me miles per hour. So it's going to be 6 hours. All right, now I want you to do your turn now, number 8. It's very similar to this, and then we'll check it and we'll be done. So I start with my formula, D equals RT. Did it give me a value for distance?
Yes.
What was it? 100. Did it give me a value for rate?
No.
Did it give me a value for time?
Yes. 2 hours.
Yes. Okay, so now let me ask you this, okay? Let me just kind of deviate just for a minute. What's 2 times 3?
6.
What's 3 times 2?
6.
So it doesn't matter what order I multiply numbers, right? Okay. Now, algebraically, the correct way to show a number and a variable multiplied together is to write the number first. So, if what you just said is true, that it doesn't matter what order I multiply, then I can write this 100 equals 2r. Algebraically, it's the proper way to write it, to write the number first, okay? Well, you say, well, r came first in the formula. It did, but it doesn't matter what order you multiply in, and you need to write your number first. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're just going to try to get in the habit now of doing that. All right, so now I ask myself, 2 times what number equals 100? What is it? 50. Now, here's the bummer. If you don't say r equals 50 miles an hour, you're going to get at least half the points off, okay? If not all of them, just depends on how you end up writing your answer. Showing your work, showing your formula, your substitution, I can tell you one thing, if all you write is 50 miles an hour on your answer for a quiz or a test, you're not going to get points for it. Because I'm not testing you over, can you do this mental math? I'm testing you over whether you can use a formula, write the substitution, and actually use a formula to solve. So if you don't use the formula, you didn't do what I asked you to do. All right? So on your homework tonight, let's start practicing. On the distance problems, use your formulas, show your substitutions, and solve. All right, and that's everything for lesson 1.5.